All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. This is how to build dynamic reports in Google's Data Studio with Brian Thaxton, Arsha Mirsha of Web Mechanics. Data Studio is really cool. We're real excited to show you about this because it's revolutionized our reporting. So we'll be talking about, Data Studio, the data visualization tool, reporting in general. And just real quick, a little bit about us. I'm Arsham Mirsha. That's me on the screen. They really had to Photoshop me to make me look that good. Just kidding. I'm a co-founder here at Web Mechanics, and I'm joined with Brian Thaxton, who is Director of Operations. I can't think of anyone better to be running this. Brian's been with us for 6 years, and he's got his hands deep in data and information, and he lives on the bleeding edge of technology. And this Data Studio is new; it's still in beta, and I gotta give credit to Thax is his nickname, Brian, where it's due. He pioneered rolling this out with our company, has revolutionized our reporting. So we're excited to be sharing this with you guys today. And our company is Web Mechanics. Web Mechanics, we're a performance digital marketing and advertising agency. So we help clients with online advertising, online marketing to get measurable return on investment. For us, that's really what it comes down to. It's all about conversions, leads, lead generation, and sales through online marketing and advertising. And so reporting is big for us, right? Data is huge for us. We have to make sure our data is clean so that we can use it to make decisions on where we're going to advertise next, or what creative is working well and what's not working well, and what paths people are taking through our website. All of these things, data can help us decide what to optimize and what to leave alone because it's working, right? So, and what's interesting about Data Studio is it's helped us make sense of our data more quickly than previously possible. So with that, I am going to, well, actually no, not with that. Real quick housekeeping, guys. So we're using GoToWebinar here. It's got a lot of cool features, and throughout this webinar, this is live and interactive, so we're going to hit you guys with polls. So you'll see those coming up. There should be 3 of them throughout the webinar, so pay attention, be attentive, and help us out. Answer the polls, and we'll see what we can do with that data, right? Also, I'm going to be attending the chat. So if you guys have questions, you can use the questions. You can use the chat to kind of chat to everyone, or the questions, and just hit me, Arsham, that is, with the question, and I'll either answer it in the chat or I'll bring it up here. And then lastly is the post-webinar survey. We're going to be sending out an email. Is that right? Right? So we'll have there'll be an email, and we really appreciate your feedback, everyone. We appreciate your time in attending, but also your time in giving us just 2 minutes of your time extra after the webinar to give us feedback. We want to do more of these webinars, and we want to know what works for you and what would make it even better. So thank you in advance for that. Thank you, everyone, for being here. With that, now I turn it over to Brian Thaxton.
Okay. So, yeah, reporting, very big in my world, doing operations. There's a lot to report on, especially in a marketing agency, because marketing is very data-driven, as I'm sure somebody else has already told you by now. Data definitely drives us. So, question is, where are we going? How are we getting there? Data Studio, that's definitely a piece of that answer. But yeah, so for me, when I'm thinking, reporting, it's revealing opportunities, things that aren't going well that could be doing better, or things that are going really well that we want to capitalize on and do even more of. So data, reporting, all of that is for revealing opportunity. And so the way I think of that, it's where's the green grass at? We're always looking for, better situation, better circumstances, and reporting is one way to get there. So to get to that green grass, you got to look inside yourself, use these tools, and kind of reveal the new opportunities. So that's just the way I kind of frame this. It's a theme we'll come back to. So where's the green grass at? We'll find it together. So this webinar, definitely want to get our hands dirty with some data, with some building out some of these visualizations. So yeah, we're going to have that hands-on tutorial after we talk a little bit about what those outcomes are. So we promised a free Data Studio report template. We'll go over that quickly, show it to you, and everyone attending here will get access to that. So that's exciting, and we'll also arm you with knowledge for kind of communicating to your team, to other executives, why transitioning to Data Studio is important for your team, the efficiencies you're going to gain there. So we'll dive into Data Studio, what it is, a little bit about why we're teaching this, and then we'll jump into that hands-on tutorial where we will build a report together, we'll fumble around together with the settings, with the options, and we'll put one together before the end of this webinar. So it's not that daunting. We'll get through it together. So then beyond that, if there's questions, specific problems you ran into, other things you're wondering if it's capable of doing, we'll do a Q&A session. So, so that's the general agenda of it. We'll try to stick to it, stick within the 60-minute time frame, but there's always time to ask us questions afterwards. We love this stuff. I love this stuff. So, yeah, so let's jump on into it. So, first outcome for this is going to be the Data Studio report template. So that's on the right here. It's a one-page report, kind of a dashboard view. So we'll dig into that a little bit after we've built out a little bit of our reports. But that's kind of what you can expect, what you'll walk away with. At the very least, you got this template you can plug in your data with, and it'll instantly start reporting some very cool visualizations for you. So after that, we'll also go over some examples of data-driven reporting we do here at Web Mechanics. We use Data Studio in a variety of ways. It's not just performance reporting. We use it for our case studies. We use it for dashboards, kind of similar to that giveaway. So reporting, that's a flexible term for me. It doesn't necessarily mean some hand-delivered thing that moves up the chain. If I got to synthesize a lot of data to make a decision, sometimes Data Studio is the best way for me to kind of visualize that, picture that, and understand it. So yeah, we'll get you everything you need to start doing that, starting with that hands-on tutorial.
Yeah, and I think case studies are really cool. Brian touched on, we're all used to case studies being these PDFs that are, just a flat file. But with Data Studio, you can make them kind of interactive. You can make it so that people can hover over the graphs and see, the numbers and what have you. And I think that's really cool. So, there's more applications than just visualizing data.
Yeah, that's true. The interactivity of it is very, very cool. So, yeah, let's get into it. So before we get started, though, I want to kind of query everyone with a poll. How often do you look at your analytics?
So the poll should be live. You guys should see it. Do me a favor, just quickly submit that.
Yeah, because we can try to tailor some of what we talk about towards more majority use case. Because Data Studio, you can do virtually anything with it. If you got an hourly report, it can function as that hourly report, monthly, weekly, anywhere in between. It's such a flexible platform. It's a better sort of spreadsheet, in my opinion.
Yep. So 80% of you have voted so far. I'm just going to leave it up for like 10 more seconds to see if we can get a full 100%, 85%. Come on, people. Who's not attentive? Who hasn't
Someone's
voted
sleeping
yet?
at the keyboard.
Someone's sleeping at the keyboard. AFK. All right, 85%. Just a couple more seconds if anyone wants to throw it in here. But already the results are overwhelmingly.
Okay, so we're looking at daily and weekly.
Yeah.
So those two answers. So everyone paying attention right now. You're living in your data. You're swimming in it. So that's good. This can help you synthesize a lot of those different data sources. So you don't have to jump from Facebook to Twitter, CSVs to something else. You can kind of pull it all into one unified system. So very exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. So weekly, that's good. Daily. I think for us, we'd probably, if we pulled our Web Mechanics, crew here, I'd hope that we'd get 100% daily. But the idea with this is that, with dashboarding, with reporting, we can if you like the data and you know where to go, like if you have a dashboard and you just know that, hey, I just got to check this dashboard, just make sure that nothing's on fire, I think that you'd find yourself checking it daily. You know what I mean? Because you have all of your key metrics, your KPIs, key performance indicators on one dashboard, and then from that dashboard you can go in. So thank you everyone for answering. The one or two people who answered analytics question mark, I love it. That's good stuff right there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you everyone for doing that. So yeah, we'll try to use those answers to tailor some of the material here. So back to the green grass. So how do you get to the green grass? So we talked about reporting. Reporting's one path towards that. And an important piece of that I want to emphasize is kind of working towards the future. So what I mean by that is consolidating your data sources and, more importantly, cleaning your data sources. So data hygiene is incredibly important. So when you're running campaigns on Twitter ad network versus AdWords ad network, you want your data from each network coming back clean. So UTM tags, we'll touch on those. That's one way to do that. But yeah, just thinking all these different data sources you want to report on, are they accurate, are they clean, and should we be using them for this decision that we're doing? So working towards the future there. So now, what is Data Studio? We've been talking a lot about it. So what we have here is just a screenshot straight from Google's product information page. If you went to their analytics, this would be one of the pages on their analytics website, and they describe beautiful data visualization, fully customizable, tell great data stories to support better business decisions. So I think that's what kind of everyone wants. They want to support their decisions, use the data that they're kind of surrounded by to actually make better informed decisions. So that's according to Google, and what they're describing here, it's nothing new. Data visualization, this isn't something that just hot off the press, brand new, drop everything you're doing. This has been around for a while, but it's been very expensive and it's been very difficult to do. So Tableau, that's one product that we've used before. Great product, fantastic. The things you can do with it are amazing.
Endless.
So issue is that it's difficult to use. There's so much to do, so much to get set up. It costs money. So Data Studio, on the other hand, free for everyone, easy to get started, and there's kind of a beauty in the simplicity in the way I see it. So according to Google, beautiful data visualization, nothing new there, but according to us, it's the simplicity behind it. And really, at the end of the day, this is just another tool in your arsenal. You've got quiver full of arrows. This is just another one to add in there. Google Analytics, you're still going to have to rely on that, on your other data sources. So yeah, another tool at the end of the day. So make sure it works within your workflow. I think that pretty much anyone can adopt it easily. So yeah, not too much heavy lifting to get this adopted. But it's not a silver bullet. You still got to have other things in place, like data sources that are clean and accurate.
Garbage in, garbage out, right, people? So obviously, if you're not collecting, if your data is crap, for lack of a better term, then so will your reports be. Now, what's cool about Data Studio is if you only use Data Studio for your Google Analytics data, like Google Analytics is the free tool from Google that tracks visitors on your website. I'm sure many of you know, except for the one or two people who did the analytics question mark response. So if you just use Data Studio for that, you'll find that it's very seamless. It's really, really cool, and we'll show you an example of that in just a minute.
Okay, so yeah, before we get there, here's the big talking points for Data Studio. When you're talking with your team, here's what you want to touch on. So it's data visualization. So you got to have data in the first place to visualize it, to use the tool. So integrating with your sources, incredibly easy. We'll show you in a second that it's just a couple clicks, and all of a sudden you can pull data from a lot of different sources, from AdWords, from analytics, from spreadsheets, from files, all kinds of stuff. Very cool. Easy to integrate. So it's fast. Reporting too. So analytics, constantly pulling in information. You can refresh your reports for up to the day report. So you don't have to rebuild this report a lot of times. And the way it conveys information, very smart. So it's fast and effective. And again, highly customizable. We can bend this to whatever need, whether it's a case study, a dashboard, an in-depth performance report, a quarterly performance report, whatever we're looking for, we can make it our own. So yeah, updatable, accessible. It's a web-based product, so no matter what machine, Mac, OS, Chromebook, Linux, whatever, everyone could jump into it and start using it. So it's not really bound by any software. So very cool. So those are the talking points. So let's now, one last slide on it, just kind of touch on the difference between traditional reporting and Data Studio reporting. So real-time updates, there's a button, we'll show you where you just press it, refreshes all your data, pulls in more analytics data. So you're not rebuilding reports, you're reusing the same report with brand new data in there. It does all that automatically for you, so you save time, spend less effort, and get that kind of real-time view. So siloed, this isn't siloed. You can plug into multiple data sources. So like we've kind of touched on, AdWords, you want that, you can pull that in. You want Facebook data, you can pull that in. You can pull in a lot of different data sources so that data isn't living in a silo. You can compare it side by side. Here's how Facebook did, here's how AdWords did, here's how email did, whatever you want to report on, you can pull it in there. And as we kind of just talked about with the accessibility, this is a web-based program. So everyone can use it. You don't have to worry about machine slowdowns. Very accessible.
You can share it, right? Like you can share a link to it to your constituency, your stakeholders, or whomever, which I think is really cool. No more emailing PDFs around. This is web-based. I mean, it's what more can you ask for, right? Real time.
Yeah, and even if sharing something, someone likes to get things handed to them, you can still print it out. Print it out as a beautiful PDF, looks great.
Yeah.
So a lot of different options, but we love that it's web-based. So okay, we've been talking a lot on Data Studio. So let's last touch on why we're teaching this, why we're spending time talking to everyone, showing everyone this. What's in it for us. And the biggest thing, teaching is learning for us. When you have to lay out a presentation like this, cue things up, it forces you to go over some of the basics, master those fundamentals, and teach yourself something. So I've spent a lot of time learning from this. We're learning from it. So it's a win-win for us to teach you. So hopefully you feel the same way. Hopefully you feel like you're learning something and going to be walking away with something. Outside of this, particularly for me, but everyone at Web Mechanics, we love Google products. Everything, Google Glass, got them. Every Google platform, we've tried it. So Google Data Studio, this is just the next in the line of, what's the pulse of the digital marketing industry, what's the pulse of Google, and where are things moving. So we love to test things out, we love to use them. We prototyped this, we found a lot of the efficiencies we've described. So now we want to share it with everyone else. It's working for our team. We trust it. We love it. Now, we want to share it with you. So that helps us learn, helps us get more involved with Google products. And we're data-driven. We love data. We're marketers. Our world revolves around data, split testing. So this has data right in the name, Data Studio. So a studio to play around with your data. There's very little that could be more exciting to a data-driven marketer than an entire data studio dedicated to that.
There you go. And if you're not a marketer, that's okay too. I'm like CFO here at Web Mechanics, and I use Data Studio to do financial reporting, right? To my co-founder and to my group, that holds me accountable. So you can use it for financial. You can use it for anything. This is a data visualization tool. It is just a tool, but like Brian said, data drives decisions, and that's across many different disciplines, right? Financial, marketing, etc. Supply chain, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's data rules.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so no matter what you're doing, if it's looking at team workloads and capacity, you can plug into your project management data sets and do visualizations. Tons you can do with it. That's a very important point. I do a lot of marketing, so I kind of pigeonhole myself and my uses towards that, but this tool, infinitely versatile.
Let's find out how people currently report.
Yeah, so about to get into the hands-on tutorial, show some reports, start building the reports. Before we do, have another quick webinar poll for everyone.
And here it is. So how do you currently report? I wish that we could check more of the following or multiple of the following, but unfortunately you can only select one. So select the one that's like best for you here. And I see 63, almost 70% have voted already. That's awesome. 74%. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to answer a quick question here. 79%. Just a couple more seconds to see how people report. Spoiler alert, 0% in Salesforce so far. That's pretty interesting. And okay, let me close the poll. And here are the results. So we have a lot of analytics, Excel, some PowerPoint, and then other platforms, no Salesforce. So analytics and Excel, that's good. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's very good news. So we actually used to report similarly. We have some custom dashboards and reports saved to our different profiles, but most often we were working out of Excel, large data sets from AdWords, Facebook, Google Analytics. We were dumping them all into Excel and running our visualizations there. But those files became super heavy, so very big files, not easy to send through email, and just became kind of messy. So this kind of wraps up analytics, Excel really easily, and PowerPoint. We've been able to recreate some of our other presentations there too. So kind of like case studies, we've been building out some of our presentation decks to partners and other groups in Data Studio because the visualization, the options are just really, really cool. So no matter what you're doing or reporting out of, you can potentially transition it into Data Studio, given an idea of what you want to get to. So very good, very good. Okay, so moving on now. So why green grass again? Bringing this up again, so we kind of mentioned it's opportunities. Data Studio, data reporting, that's revealing opportunities. So green grass is, that's where the money is. Where the money is here, leaving on the table, whether because of an issue or because of it's an opportunity. So we want to find out, so green grass, money, that means a lot of different things to different people. Some people it's literal money, cream, cash rules everything around me. For other people, though, it's recognition. It's a job well done, kind of satisfaction in the work they do. So Data Studio, it's going to help you find your green grass by helping you find whatever you need, whether it's supporting evidence for that raise you want, or kind of the green light for a campaign you want to run because you think there's opportunity that's being overlooked. This is going to help you find that, visualize it, and present it. So now, without further ado, we're going to get into this hands-on tutorial part. So we're going to go over the reports, we're going to talk on data sources, and we're going to talk on permissions a little bit. That's one thing that can trip you up a little bit, but really a pretty minor thing if you're careful. So to start these reports, let me show you some of the reports that we have internally. So this is the cover page for our in-depth performance report for a month. So there's some filler text in here, but this is what the cover page looks like, built 100% in Data Studio using largely text boxes. So we built this out. This gives us our qualitative analysis. So with this, you can kind of write whatever you need to write. Very easy to do. Just kind of what you see is what you get. WYSIWYG. Drop a text box in there and write what you need to. So pretty straightforward. But now this is where things start getting interesting. So we start pulling in more of those visualizations, matching it with that qualitative text analysis. So on this, you can kind of see up at the top those three different columns. So this is where that data visualization is starting to happen. So now, even more in-depth than that, so each report can have multiple pages, so this is yet another page, so digging down into something specific, SEO. So if you want an SEO specific report, you can build one out with the various metrics and visualizations you need to support that. So this is what we use for our SEO report, and again, it's really smart the way it kind of highlights where things are, like entrances. It has the heat map automatically applied to it. Super smart. Google's doing some really cool stuff with their machine learning. So I'm super excited to see how else they can help with that. So this is an example of a very in-depth performance report. But as we've mentioned, you can do a lot of different stuff with it. So this is our latest case study. So we had a client. They ran a campaign. Or rather, we ran a campaign for them, and it did really, really well, much better than before, so we wrote it up. And rather than having to take screenshots from analytics and kind of recreate things in Excel, we just plugged directly into analytics, wrote around these data visualizations, which were being pulled straight out of Google Analytics. So really cool. It's not necessarily a report in the sense that many people would think report, but it's easy to put together. We got a template for it. We can pull these visualizations in super easy thanks to Data Studio. So now this last one here, this is kind of a screenshot from a dashboard report. And this is actually the report that we're going to be sending out to everyone at the end of this webinar. So it's kind of a one-page high-level overview where you can get a quick snapshot of where things are. Are there any fires that need to be put out? Anything exceptional going on you should be paying attention to? So exceptionally good stuff, exceptionally bad stuff. This kind of dashboard report is going to highlight it, make it kind of blinking in your face kind of deal. So a lot of different reports you can do. Those are 3 examples. We use it for a lot more, and I'm sure you can think of a lot of other use cases for it. So with that, let's look at what Google already has. So here, this is within Data Studio. They already have a ton of templates, so they give you kind of a starter springboard to work with here. So we'll show you how to use some of these because they can speed up the process for building these reports a lot faster. So very cool that they give you that springboard there. So then within Data Studio, and we'll get there right after this, there's a lot of these different options. So these are the main ones, all these color-coded ones, and they're kind of divided between data visualization ones, which are kind of the 1 through 9, and then 10 through 13 are kind of your drawing tools, and then you got your filter tools. So we'll go through all those. These are the buttons you're going to be using a lot of the time, but we'll go through clicking what those different buttons do. So with that introduction, let's get started. Let's fire up Data Studio. So everyone, if you're at your machine, if you can, go to datastudio.google.com. That's going to take you into the platform where you can create your first report. So I'm going to click on this, and that's going to launch me right into there.
Yeah, good. You can see you.
All right. So with this, you can see a lot of different old reports we have here, but just like you, let's start from blank. Let's start from scratch, a brand new report. So within this, we clicked our Start New Report. Now the first thing it does is ask about a data source. So if you want to do data visualization, you got to have some data to visualize. So what does that mean? So let's look real quick. Create new data source. So these options on the left-hand side, they're really, really cool. So to start, we'll start with our favorite one. Just want to say Google Analytics. You can plug directly into Google Analytics and start pulling data out of there.
Yeah, and someone asked about QuickBooks data because I mentioned the financial thing. So, obviously, out of the box here, what you see on the screen now is what Google out of the box Data Studio will connect to. So AdWords, for instance, because it's a Google platform, Attribution 360, Google Analytics, Sheets, right? So what I do, I use the QuickBooks API to put my data into a MySQL database, and then I connect to it remotely there. If if API is kind of like, I wasn't using the API to begin with. First, I was just exporting data from QuickBooks into a CSV and using the file upload feature before I did the API. So that is, another way. You could export data from any tool that you can put into CSV and use a file upload to visualize it. Obviously, then you're not going to have like that real-time updating and what have you, because you're going to have to update the file every time. But as you'll see, like visualizing data can really help you hone in on what you should be looking at. Now with Google Analytics, this is our favorite tool. tracks all your visitors on your site, and we're going to use that data source because it's very rich, very abundant, and it also updates every day, every second of every day. Really, it's collecting data. I'm going to turn it back over to Brian to show you how to do that. So in this example, we're using just analytics because it's got the most data, and most of you, probably all of you, are running Google Analytics on your site today.
If you're not, we can help.
Yeah, if you're not, we can definitely help with that. But so go ahead, Brian. You can show the analytics.
Yeah. So one last thing that Arsham kind of mentioned. So database. So MySQL, Google's BigQuery. So for the topic of upcoming webinar, we can potentially talk on that if there's enough interest there, because we transitioned our team from kind of Excel reporting to Google Data Studio, but now next level of that we're working towards is getting everything into a database, a big old database that you can plug directly into. So so if you're interested in that, that's next level stuff. That's really cool. So yeah, let me know afterwards. I'd be very interested in chatting about that. So okay, but to pull things back now, we're talking Google Analytics. We're using Google Analytics. That's what most people report out of. So to do this, click directly on it. So we got different accounts. So Web Mechanics, we're going to use our own account right there. So I'm going to connect to our Web Mechanics account. I'm going to pull our data into it. So I selected it. This is what we want. So when I click that connect button, it's going to say, hey, do you want to pull all this stuff in? And my answer is yes, definitely. Because what it's doing, Google Analytics, essentially is just kind of a bucket of sorts on your website collecting information. So a lot of different stuff falling into that bucket. We don't know what we'll need, when we'll need it, so I like to just pull everything in. It doesn't really cause any issue in terms of slowdown or anything, so I just add all of this to my report. So now we have connected our data source. We integrated our data source.
Did you name it?
I didn't name it.
Oh, he didn't name it. All right.
It's killing me. I
caught you.
Very bad about that. So naming your data source. So we'll show you what kind of problems that creates. So if you have analytics data where we are able to pull a lot of different information, Facebook visits to our website, AdWords visits, email visits, we can pull a lot of that stuff. But if I wanted to, say, take our team's project management program and I wanted to pair that information alongside our reports, then I'd have to add another data source. And if I don't name my data sources, I can't distinguish between Google Analytics data and that kind of project management data. So, yeah, name your data sources. That's the moral of that story.
I caught you.
So, okay, so now we have this report set up, fresh canvas. What are some of the first things we do? So some options here, canvas size. I like to toggle with this. So I like landscape. I like it longer than it is tall. I like that presentation view. So I want to switch it from the landscape it is in, which is 4:3 to 16:9. I prefer that. So
gives you more space too.
Exactly. Gives me a little bit more space to work with, and I kind of think. Yeah, horizontally. So that's the way I do that there. So you can toggle with that, change things. If you want to make it much bigger, smaller, you can change a lot of the stuff on there. So outside of that, a lot of people are big on aesthetics. They want it to match their branding, their colors, that kind of thing. So one quick change you can do, simple and simple dark. So I like dark screens. I like to try to save my eyeballs by not looking at as bright white of colors as I can all day, so I like to go to the dark. So I got it 16:9, and I have it dark now. So okay, that gives us our canvas. It's a little bit customized, what I like to present, what some of my other reports look like. So yeah, it's more set up for that. So a lot of different other options in here in terms of colors, fonts. So you can set that at this layout and theme level, but we'll touch on that during other portions as well. So, okay, so now we're jumping into the tools section. So now we're actually building this Data Studio report. So as one of those previous slides showed, these are the tools you're going to be using a lot, quite frequently. So to get started, let's kind of name this report. Let's set the tone for what this is. So first, I just drew a shape here. I drew a shape. It's a slightly different color than the background. Google's smart and figures that out for me. So One thing I don't like about it, though, is that it's kind of just a little jagged. It's got these edges. I want to round them a little bit, so let's soften those. So coming in here, so now we got softened edges, gives it a little bit better aesthetics right there. So like that. Now let's write on it. Let's name this report, and we're going to call this the Green Grass Report. So that unveils all of your opportunities. That's the way I think about it whenever someone tells me to do a report. I'm finding the green grass for them. So with that, let's take it up to there. Make it bold, throw italics on there, so it's looking real nice. Okay, so we got our green grass report. So with between those the text fields and kind of the shapes tools, you can draw quite a lot. And you can even insert images. If you got stock photography, icons, that's something we've found ourselves importing a lot. You can pull those directly in. So these drawing tools, through the combination of these 4 fields, you can do a lot. So let's move from those drawing tools into this data visualization options. So let's apply our first visualization from analytics. So for a green grass report, we want to know a bit about geography. Where are people who are coming to our website? Where are they? Where do they live? So I'm going to draw this right here with a simple mouse.
Can you show them what you did exactly? So you clicked on...
Yeah, so I clicked onto the Geo Map,
Yep.
and all I did is just create this box.
Yep, click the Geo Map and then drag the box, and then bam, just dropped
And
it.
boom, look at that, just visualized all this data. So this is interesting. It tells us that the United States, that's where our visitors are. We kind of already knew that, though. So we want to dig down a little bit more. And here's that untitled data source, as we mentioned. So that's title your data sources. But yeah, so this map, we want to get a little bit more specific. We know most of our visitors are in the U.S., so that we're good there. We want more than that. So in order to do that, we're going to change this zoom area. So right now it's on the world. So we can take it down to a continent, subcontinent. Okay, so now we're kind of getting closer, but not quite. We're still, okay, we know it's U.S. This isn't helping us perfectly. So how do we do this? So we have this visualization, but it's not where we want it to be. So what do we do? So our dimension here is where we're going to change that. So for this, we're going to go to region. So before it was that country ISO code. So now we have region. So now it's zoomed in a little bit. We see, okay, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania. That's kind of what we expected. That's good. That's good. Some California, a lot of people there, a lot of tech people, makes sense. So that's helpful, but it's still not quite where we want to be. We want something more specific. So let's go down here in the zoom area. So before we were changing our dimension from country code, and now we're at region level. So now let's change the zoom. So let's go even farther to, let's see. So we still can't go to Maryland. We still can't find Maryland. We're still stuck at this kind of state level. So not quite there yet. Okay, region closer. Let's try and dig even deeper down into this. So if we look at city now, so city here is going to tell us what cities where web mechanics, our website, is most popular in. So okay, so number of sessions per city. So now that's where this visualization is going, showing us all these little dots. Bigger the dot, the more sessions originate from there. So now can we zoom down into something like Maryland? Now can we focus on that state where we know we're getting a lot of traffic, where perhaps the cities aren't getting the attention. So now we can drill down into Maryland. So in Maryland, now this visualization is focused specifically on Maryland, and these different dots are going to be different cities around Maryland. So Baltimore, Catonsville, Columbia, Towson, so we can see we're showing up in the places we should be showing up, and hey, that place we thought they were getting a lot of attention, a lot of awareness. We spent a lot of money. Maybe we're not showing up in there. Maybe we're not attracting that traffic. So this visualization, we kind of just played with the dimension we were looking at. We started at that world view, kind of country codes, then we ended up with cities and regions. So what you can do with that, you can kind of see the flexibility with it. It's incredible. You can build out these reports however you want. So that was kind of just an example of all the different ways we can display geography after we've kind of identified we want a map on this report. So, okay, yeah, so between visualizations, the text, and the shapes, you can basically build out any report. So before we move any further, though, most of the people on here are probably busy people, got a lot of stuff to do, so building out your own report might seem a little bit daunting. You know, I don't know about rounding edges, color schemes, a lot of different things. So I want to get this going faster. What can I do? So one of the best things you can do is go to that template gallery and copy and paste. So it's a pretty awesome feature, the copy and paste. So Google's got these templates. Let's see what they already built out. Let's use one of these springboards for our report. So we built this one, but we want to just kind of slap a new page in there very quickly. So for this one up here, okay, so they got their map visualization. They've got time series. They've got a lot of different stuff going on. So let's use this template. So all I'm going to say is use this template. This is going to make a copy for me to use. So this template here, we're going to be able to identify different metrics, different shapes, different things that we want to use. So we saw what that looked like. So if we wanted to grab this channels and engagement sections, we loved the way that was visualized. We don't need to recreate the wheel.
So right there, you just highlighted those things to grab them, right?
Yep.
And now you're going to copy them, I imagine.
Yep. So with my mouse, I just clicked, dragged, selected those different options. Now I'm going to Control-C. I'm going to copy these different visualizations. And now on the report, like I said, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Google already did this. Let's use their springboard. So now I'm going to just paste it directly into here. So now with this, it doesn't fit perfectly right now. So let's see. Okay, so that's a little bit better there. So let me drop their background out of that. So I just highlighted that background, deleted it. So now these configurations are incomplete.
We got an error.
We got an error. So we know we have the visualizations, the designs, but there's an error. So what's the problem? Configuration incomplete, and it's missing a data source. So we have that one data source, which I didn't name. So I go in there, click it, and suddenly it's working.
How cool is that?
So all those different templates that Google has there, you can grab them and immediately apply them to whatever data source you're using. Analytics works wonderfully, very quickly for most of those templates. For other ones, you have to, fuss with it a little bit, but otherwise it's generally very, very easy.
And I think Google's really cool. I mean, they show you exactly where the error is, right? They say, and then it's it's highlighted in red. Their user experience is really nice here in Data Studio. I think that they've spent a lot of time on the user experience, and they're continually making it better.
Yeah, so they will help you troubleshoot most of your problems. And yeah, there's always us and Google search if you have other questions. But generally, you can do a lot of this by yourself. So now we have these new visualizations in here. We might want to make some small changes. We might want to change the font color to something a little bit lighter to match our background. We might want to change some of the colors on these graphs, these displays. So we've already kind of seen some of this, connecting your data source, choosing dimensions that you want to show. So we're showing channel groupings, organic, direct visits, email, social, that side, and it's broken out by sessions and page views. So you can do that. Style, though, if you want to, change color of those bar graphs, you can do that within the style panel. So
make it your brand, right? Everyone likes to see it in their own colors and their own brand, and so do the execs, right? Executives who you might be reporting up to, they're gonna likely be more attentive if it's in their brand, in your brand rather. That is.
So plenty of options to do that, to match it. I got the help of a designer for a lot of our reports that we use internally here. So yeah. If you're scared of aesthetics, there's reports that already exist, and there's people out there that can help you. So okay, so we can go through all those different reports that Google already has in their template gallery, and we can just start grabbing things that we like and pasting them in.
Some pretty cool stuff in there.
So some really great stuff, e-commerce one. So they got a lot of different things. Pasting them in there, and as you saw, works very easily. Copy, paste, and boom, it's up and running once you integrate your data source. So very, very cool there. So now, one thing I want to touch on, we talked about, these different data visualization options. There was the map. You're saying, one of the pie charts down here with this. We got bar charts, a lot of different stuff going on. And we used the text, the drawing tools. But these filter options, filter control and date range. So these are super cool because you can allow the person reading this report to interact with it. And date range is often one of the things they want to ask. So, hey, this is a cool report you gave me month over month, but I want to know quarter over quarter. I want to know how we were last year. So this date range option is going to let you do that. So I just slapped that date range option in there, and now this information that's being displayed from our analytics, you can manipulate it. So the default is 30 days. So let's expand that data set. Let's get a much larger data set right here. So up through yesterday. So now it's a much bigger, different data set. All these numbers changed. They're bigger numbers now because we got that bigger data set. So you can build this straight into your report. So next time someone says, hey, I'm not interested in just the last 7 days. I want the last 28 days.
Yeah, how did that look? Right. How did this data look last month, right?
So
bam, changes right here.
And change right in front of your eyes. So,
I'd love to show this report. Would that throw you off?
No. So let's go into that. So filters and segments. So we'll show you on the giveaway report in a second. But Arsham has a really great report that we use.
Yeah. And some of you have been asking questions about visualization and how this can kind of help. So let me. Okay, I'll drive over here. So check this out. This is a actual report that we use for a client. So we're helping a client by advertising on Google and on Facebook. So this report is specifically for Facebook. We're helping this client recruit physical therapists, RNs, PTs, and OTs, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and registered nurses. Okay, so we're helping them recruit. We're using Facebook as an advertising platform. So this is our data studio report, and it's pretty cool, right? Like we can.
So it's got the date range.
Yeah, we got the date range up here.
What you were showing was those other filter controls.
Segment, segment filters, dimension filters. So I'm looking at all the DMAs, all the markets we're advertising in, and all the positions. Let's say I only wanted to look at RNs. Registered nurses. So I'd click this only button right here, and the data is going to change. And now you can see like we've spent 22 grand on RNs. We get applications for $88, and I can go to PT only, and you can see that PTs cost us more. We spent significantly less. You can see the trends and all that. I think this is super cool. Let me put all the positions back on. Let's change the date range, right? Let's say I want to see last month. So last month, apply that. So last month, we spent 14 grand. We got 161 applications, a million, impressions. Really cool stuff, and you can see the change over time in the cost per acquisition as well. Now, okay, great. Let me show you guys a heat map. Someone asked about heat mapping. Heat mapping your data. So if I go to this RN performance tab, this is this particular report page. So you can have different pages in Data Studio. This page here has a page level segment, or a page level filter rather, that's only showing us RNs. So So you can see position. If I try to filter, it's only RNs. That's all that's in here. We do that using a page level filter. Not going to go into that here, but you can see it when you edit the page, right? But check this out. If I come down here, okay, our DMA, Seattle, CPA, look at that red. It's like really red, and even redder than that, more red, redder, I don't know if redder is a word, it's not probably, even more red, you know, is Denver. Denver, we've only gotten 2 applications. Our cost per application is $300 almost. So you can see it jumps right out at you. Where are we getting the most applications? 33 in Houston, Texas, the green, right? So this is data heat mapping. It's really, really cool because it just like tells you, bam, right in your face, green is good, red is bad, right? And I don't know if you guys can see if it comes through on your screen, but like the 80 is like a fainter red. So, you know, it's just heat mapping the data. And I think that this is where data visualization really shines. It helps you hone in on the data to see, you know, what the trends are and where you should focus your attention. Now check this out. Here is the actual data source running this. So so much data in here. You know, let's see how many rows there are. If this is, it's lagging because it's so 3,000 rows of data. Over 3,000 rows of data is being used to populate this report here. And then, you know, every day we come in and we press this refresh data button, and it pulls new data from the day prior. Super powerful. Client loves it. We love it. You know, we used to spend hours pulling this data out of Facebook and posting it into Excel, and oh my goodness, the days of that are over, thank goodness, right? And also it's being a little slow right now, but as you can see, it starts to populate, and it's a lot of data. It is how it is. So hopefully that's helpful to everyone. I think that heat mapping is really, really neat tool that helps you hone in on where you need to hone in. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Brian here. You want the slides, or you want?
Yeah. So a couple last things to touch on when building these reports. So that report from Arsham, incredible. So we talked a little bit about the date filter features, so you can change on a fly what that data set is looking at, what the date range is.
Someone just asked about segments. Katie, thank you for that. I'm answering your question. I'm going to send it to everyone. The answer is yes. You can use analytics segments. If you have custom segments that you use in Google Analytics, you can pull those in. I think that Brian might be going to show you that right now. Yeah, so it's at the bottom right. And yes, it's actually a new feature that they're adding. They're adding a lot to this Data Studio. When it first came out, they didn't have segments, for example. So now they do.
Yeah, constantly being updated. So that's part of what's so exciting about it. It's already good, but it's getting even better. So yeah, for segments, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. So these filters and features like that, I'm going to try to connect it with that. So you can drop them on a page-by-page basis, but if different pages of your report are meant to show different things, if page 1 is going to be a cover, page 2 is looking specifically at email activity, for example, one thing you can do in there is go to page settings. So current page settings, you can set your data source for that, and then you can change your styles around as well. But what we can also do is manage filters. So you can add filters at the report level to say, hey, I only want to include traffic type to be equal to email. We only want email. Email is the traffic type. So now that's going to apply that filter at that page level and come down that way. But now with segments, what can happen? I'm not sure why it's not.
Sure, traffic type was the right dimension.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so maybe you want to use source medium.
Where so source medium would be.
Yeah, source contains, or medium contains email, and that should pare everything down. as a filter.
Okay, yeah. So the other way to do it though, if there's just a specific widget you want to filter down.
Yeah.
So you can't use the filters or the segments. So clicking on a specific widget brings up this kind of two-sided panel, data and style. So how you're interacting with the data, what data you're interacting with. That's going to be here, and this is where you're going to use some of the filtering. So this Google Analytics segment, so system segments, custom segments, shared segments. So custom ones that you've built, system ones are the ones that Google has. So returning users, we're always interested in those people. They're expressed interest in us once, twice now, so we want to see if we can talk to them a little bit. So now on just this one piece of it, we have that segment, returning users. So this is showing information only for those returning users for the default time frame. So super cool, the segments. So glad they added them. We have a lot built out in analytics. Now we're able to use them in our reporting and in different ways. So very, very neat there. So let's see. Let's come back to this filter. Okay, so it added the filter at report level, but I didn't enable it at page or on the particular widget level. So now traffic type filter, it's just email, adding that there. So if I take it off, it goes back to everything. So you can filter with filters or with segments. Very useful and very helpful. Okay, so outside of this, let's jump over to the Data Studio giveaway, one-page report. So one question was on those heat maps. Arsham kind of touched on it a little bit. Let me just kind of walk through the process of how to set up those different parameters. So this is the report we'll be sharing with everyone. You can copy and paste certain sections of it. You can copy and paste the whole report, use the whole report, use a variety of different things. And like Arsham's report, this kind of features those different filters built in up at the top. So if we only want to look at those mobile users, everything here is going to change just for those mobile users. So now we know exactly what they're doing. This device confirms it for us. So that's that. But let's see here. So right now, mobile users goal conversion. So Facebook killing it for our mobile users. This just immediately jumps out at me because of that heat mapping data visualization. So let's show you how those rules are made, how you can work with those rules. So again, this is happening on a particular widget. We want to add or look at the heat mapping. So I click on that widget, which is separate than this text and shape field, which we can play around with if we wanted, but we want this data visualization. So it's got the data, the style, so we're hooked into the right analytics source. We got our right stuff going on here. But style, it's a stylistic thing. We want to change the color of the heat map. We want to change when the heat map shows. So style is where that's going to be here. So for column 3, that's where the heat map's showing up. So we see there's this heat map option right there. So with that, you got your colors, make it, your brand. So with that, it looks horrible. That's not why. That's why I'm not a designer. So let's get it back to that kind of green that jumps out of the page, catches your eye, and makes you say, hey, there's green grass, there's opportunity here. Let me dig more into that. Let me find out more. Let me start taking action based on this data that I'm receiving. So that's that. So this is the report that we're working with. It's got all different features, functionality on it. It's kind of at that high-level overview dashboard, kind of one-page report view. But take it, make it your own, and yeah, you can do a lot with it. And if you are doing multi-page reports, one last thing I want to say on this, you can make things report level. So you can make sure that your logo shows up from page to page, different things like that.
And stays in the same place, right? That's a quirk of mine.
Yep. Yeah, so it's not jumping as you're flipping through the PDF. You hand the PDF, they're flipping through by hand, and that logo's jumping, a couple pixels left, right, up, down.
That's annoying.
No one wants that. So you can lock things in. So I mean, these are the basic core controls of Data Studio. So you can draw out whatever visualization you want, plug in your data source, and it'll start kind of funneling that in there, and you filter, pare it down to what you're looking for. For me, though, admittedly, the quickest way we got our team up and running on Data Studio reports was by copying and pasting. So this free Data Studio giveaway report, the templates Google already has, they're going to be invaluable resources for getting things up and running. So, so yeah, that is going to be the hands-on portion of it. We got a couple other things to share with you, some tips, but that's the extent of the hands-on tutorial. I do want to plug Supermetrics. So one of the things we talked about with Data Studio, you can pull data from any source. So creating your new report, creating your new source, Google Sheets is one of the best things to look at there. So Supermetrics is an add-on for Google Sheets that lets you go into different platform APIs that don't natively integrate with Google Data Studio, and you can pull that data down into a Google Sheet, and Data Studio can reference that. So Supermetrics, we love them. We love their product. It makes reporting really easy, so it's a good companion to have. Now tied to that, UTM tagging, so UTM parameters on URLs, that's something we know and love. If you don't know what that is and want to learn more, send me a message afterwards. We can go, because that's a whole nother topic, how you clean up that data. So we'll get there, especially if enough people express interest. So just letting you know that.
Yeah.
So
if you can't tell, we're kind of passionate about this stuff.
Definitely love it. So yeah, back into that. So last webinar poll, just want to find out, what some of the data sources you're trying to pull into Data Studio. And one of those things, what networks do you advertise on? Because that's one of the biggest use cases for us. We're running Facebook ad campaigns, we're running Google AdWords ad campaigns, LinkedIn ad campaigns, Twitter ad campaigns, small niche ad network campaigns, so a lot of different places, and they're all siloing their data. So what we do, like we said, use that Supermetrics, use Google Analytics to pull that data into one or two data sources, then visualize that using Data Studio. So just for advertising alone, how many different places do you have to look at for your information? Different data sources you're pulling in.
All right, yeah, primarily, teaser. Oh, wait, there's more data coming in. 73, 80%. One more second. Anyone who hasn't answered? And, oh, wow, 93%.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being attentive and answering. I'm going to close it. I'm going to share the results. Look at that. Facebook and Google. Yeah. And then LinkedIn, not far behind. I'm impressed.
Yeah, Microsoft likes that.
Yeah, Microsoft's happy about that. So Google search, right? You guys saw that one of the plug-and-play data sources for Data Studio is AdWords. That's awesome. So you Google searchers out there, that will work. LinkedIn and Facebook. Again, Facebook you can't pull directly, but what you can do is use Supermetrics. Check out Supermetrics. I'm going to chat it to everyone. Supermetrics. It's a Google Sheets add-on. So it's going to plug into your Google Sheets, and you're going to use Supermetrics to hook into the Facebook API. It's very drag and drop, easy to use. You don't have to know 1 ounce of code, I promise. So you're going to hook into your Facebook. You're going to pull that data down to a Google Sheet. Then you're going to use that Google Sheet as your data source for your Data Studio report. And I know we're just kind of talking about this. We can show you guys this on a one-on-one if you'd like. Just get in touch with us. We'll show you how we do it because it's really cool. And probably the same thing with LinkedIn as well. So thank you all for the poll answering. We appreciate that. 79%. You're good to go, ready to go with
Google AdWords native integration.
Yep. Yes, and there is a cost for Supermetrics. I think is there a free version?
So there's a 30-day or
30-day
7 or 30-day free trial, and then depending on which version you're getting, Excel, Google Sheets, there'll be not nominal cost, but nothing that'll kind of break the bank, I don't think.
Yep. And I work with Instagram as well. I believe so, yes, because Facebook is
on their ad network.
Yeah, so Instagram is owned by Facebook, and I believe that when you advertise on Instagram, you're actually advertising through Facebook. So I believe that yes, the answer to Supermetrics working with Instagram as well, I believe the answer is yes, because you still use the Facebook API to grab that. I may be wrong about that. If maybe you're using Instagram natively, I admittedly don't have experience with working with Instagram before Facebook bought it. Yeah, but they didn't have ads before Facebook bought it. I think Facebook bought it, then they put ads on it. So it's all through Facebook.
I would be shocked if it was outside that Facebook ad network data set.
Yeah, I'd say I agree. So yeah, the answer is, would Supermetrics work on Instagram? I believe the answer is yes. Cool. Thanks. You're welcome. Cool. So I need to take this poll down. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that pretty much covers all the material. Outside of this, questions, we've already been fielding some questions.
Were coming in. Yeah, keep them coming if you like. We'll hang out for a couple minutes, but you know, we obviously very much appreciate. There it is, $49 a month for most social platforms, $99 a month for extended platforms. Yeah. So there is a cost to Supermetrics, $50 a month for the majority, and thank you, Owen, very much for that. Looking that up for us real quickly, and then $100 a month for Supermetrics to extend out to other platforms as well. But you know, like another way of doing this is to, if you like training individuals to help you, help you with your work, help you with your reporting. You know, if Supermetrics doesn't pull in, or if you're running, you know, if you want data from a different source, have an intern. Grab an intern and teach them how this stuff works. Have them export, daily export of like a CSV, upload it to Data Studio. You never know. We find that we bring on interns here and we have them do real work, and some of them just shine. You show them a little bit. You show them, Data Studio. You show them data, and they get real intrigued. They go home. They play with it at night. They come home. That's happened here. That's happened at Web Mechanics several times, and it's really cool to see. So if you still have to export, daily, I think the visualization is enough, to make it work.
Yeah, and with that, the Data Studio giveaway report actually was created by an intern here. She's helping us kind of administrate this webinar, but we taught her how to use Data Studio. Showed her some reports, and she was able to create that giveaway report entirely on her own, having very little exposure to it previously. So incredible what you can do. You just got the upfront cost of spending time figuring out what you want your reports to look like, where the data for those reports is coming from. If you can figure that out, then it's all just so easy after that. You set the report up, and it's just updating in real time, low to no maintenance, and it looks beautiful. So interns definitely can do it. If you're using our giveaway report, you'll find that out very quickly.
Thanks, Mr. Doug Brogus. We see you on here. Thanks for the questions and the links, my man.
And yes, I mean, we have a couple tips, but one of the ones that Arsham kind of already talked about, consider workarounds. So if you can't easily get a data set, consider another way to get it. Whether it's manual exporting or just a different way of presenting that information. Because sometimes a common problem will be, I want this number from this data set and this number from this other data set. I want them together. I want to be able to compare them. And sometimes that just it's not easy to do, can't happen for whatever reason. So what's the workaround there? So create, instead of one metric showing both of those data sources, create two different metrics, put them side by side, then you can look at those data sources. So there's always workarounds. You just got to get a little creative. So that's one of our biggest tips.
Yeah, we didn't even cover calculated fields in here, which is pretty cool.
There's a lot of advanced stuff.
But one thing I want to say to everyone, look, I use like Photoshop, right? And Final Cut Pro for video editing. Those programs are really daunting. They have so many options, and I admittedly can't even keep up, right? Luckily, Data Studio is like, it's I don't know. I think the user experience that Google has come out with makes it so that it's accessible to all, right? It's not like jump in there and just play with it. It's It's not like a Photoshop that there's like a billion options and settings and ways.
Yeah, that's that beauty and simplicity.
Yeah,
simplicity. I really subscribe to that because when I'm in PowerPoint, I'm not using all 500 options. Just give me the 10 to 15 that I'm using frequently. And so with Data Studio, it's like Prometheus bringing the fire down to humans. Google, this isn't a new tool. They're just making it available to the masses, to the people. These tools were with the gods, now they're with the people. So Data Studio democratizes.
Democratize, exactly. Try this, guys. Try taking a free trial of Tableau. Okay, take a free trial of that, and then do a free trial of Google Data Studio. Let me know which one you like better. I've used Tableau. It's a lot of options, a lot of settings, a lot of things to throw you off your game. They do a good job too, but it's overkill in my opinion for what we're doing here, what we're trying to get to. What else we got here to actually wrap this up?
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up. Last tip: remember your audience. So whenever you're communicating, whether it's reporting, storytelling, whatever it is, remember your audience. And so hopefully we remembered you, kind of considered your questions, your responses, and kind of tailored the material for you. But these reports, who's getting them? What's the green grass look like for them? Is it money? Are you looking for opportunities in that? Or is it, things that you're missing out on? Employees over capacity. Who's asking for the report? What are they asking for? Data Studio, you can really tailor it towards that audience.
What are they looking to learn? That's a good question. What you look at a report, what are you looking to learn from that report?
So that's it. We'll shut it down here. You can always ask.
Housekeeping, guys. We're about to shut down the webinar. You're going to get hit with a feedback, a survey thing. Please just take one more minute of your day. We really appreciate it. Sorry we ran over, but we really would love your feedback. So with that, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the questions. Thanks for being interactive. We're going to shut down the webinar here. It's recorded. We're going to send out a link to that to everyone. So thank you again. We're here to field questions, all day, every day.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you again. And we learned